Yay, it's a Q50 Infiniti video. I haven't made one in a couple of weeks. Maybe longer than that, I don't even know. I don't keep track. Got a lot of other things going on. But today I want to bring the video of the Ride Auto rear diff brace. I finally, he came out with the little additional sleeve that he fabricated, and I'm going to go ahead and insert that today. Take my diff brace off, because it's pretty much got to come off to fit this piece in. And I'm going to open it up. Everyone should be getting theirs pretty soon. I ordered mine really quickly, so most people that ordered next day after me or day after, you know, will get theirs. But I'm going to just make a video and show the install and put it in the car and see, you can just see my little journey to putting it in there. So we'll just open it up. It's pretty simple. $8 is, you know, it's what it costs to get it, you know, because you got to pay for shipping. So it's just a little sleeve. I mean, it's steel, so that is definitely good. And we'll just put it in, and I'll show you how I'm going to do it. Okay? Okay, so we're going to go ahead and remove the bolts now to remove the diff brace, to slip the sleeve in there to the subframe. Take these off, but when you take these, put these back on, I highly recommend, can't just stress enough, don't just guess. Use a torque wrench and torque wrench these down. I think these were either 20 or 25 foot-pounds, and this one was 20 pounds, foot-pounds, and this one was 25 foot-pounds, but we're going to now tighten the top one to 35 foot-pounds. So use a torque wrench. Don't just, you know, assume it. Just be accurate. I guess you know, they're at Pet Boys or one of the cheap places to get at, and they're fairly decent, and they cost maybe $19. Just buy one and have one from here on to the future. So we're going to take these off, tighten, loosen. And that 25 or 20 foot-pounds is nothing. I mean, I didn't even have to really apply any pressure to the, you know, torque to the wrench to get that off. Okay, well, those will come off really easy. And then we're gonna 14 millimeter up here. Probably should use my longer wrench here. And that one was really fairly easy. I mean, I guess 20 and 25 foot-pounds is not a lot of torque to put those on, but yeah, this one came off fairly easy, the top one. Okay, so this is the lock washer, and it looks fine. Here's the bolt. It looks in good shape. The little aluminum washer that I used is toast. It flattened that out like paper and deformed it, so that was junk. So you've got to use a steel washer if you're going to use a steel washer, even at that low 25 foot-pounds. That was junk. That flattened out like a paper. So go ahead and pull these off. All right, I put my bolts on just to note with blue Loctite, and that, like, you know, that's a good idea too. Put it on your threads. So we'll do that when I reinstall it. So the brace looks good. Trying to show, you know, of course, of any wobble. Looks fairly good. Not a lot of signs that this was moving. Obviously on the transmission mount side of it. And also, let me show you up here. Let me get a rag real quick and wipe this off. Alright. So here we are. You can see that there's a little wear around where the brace was flexing just a little bit, like my thumb, just a little bit of back and forth. And I did notice, you know, while I was driving the car when it was colder or pulling it out of the driveway or my entryway to my garage and out into the street, that I got a little bit of creaking noise. And obviously as things moved going, you know, the suspension articulated and the transmission moved, or the differential moved a little bit, the diff housing or the diff brace was flexing just a little bit of, you know, you could say wobble. Not very much. I wouldn't think that it's a dramatic deal, but I'm trying to just get this in the photo right here. But now we're going to insert the sleeve, and it'll allow us to, I mean, this metal is fairly decently thick. I mean, it would be hard to really damage this, in my opinion. I mean, I just put my finger in here, and it's a substantial side thickness of that metal that was either stamped into the subframe shape. All right, so here's our sleeve now. And that's going to have to be hammered in. Mine is not. See if I can get my camera a little closer. Mine is not just going to slip in very easily. Man. Yeah, so mine is I'm gonna have to assist mine going in, because mine is not just a, you know, so close fit. It looks like it's going to be a little bit more serious job getting that into the subframe hole right there. So let me get a hammer and kind of see where I get this situated and see how this works out. Okay, I'm going to speak a little loud. What's going to help you, you're going to need to remove this little plate right here, whatever this is for, to protect when your stock exhaust is on here. Take the two 12mm little bolts off, remove the little shield that hangs right there, and then you're going to take another little 12mm bolt off. On my car, the rear-wheel drive 2019 Infiniti Q50 Signature Edition, there's this little box right here, whatever, I don't know what, with some rubber hoses. That has to come down so you can get a good hammer strike on the sleeve. And I just moved it over here and hung it up on my exhaust. So now I've got a good area to swing. So I started to push this in. It is a very tight fit, which is, I guess, is a good thing. You don't want that loose. It takes a pretty good little bit of pounding with the hammer to get that to seat in there. I mean, once we get this in here, this is not coming out. Just keep that in mind. And you want to hammer it in straight. And then you just want to, I'm not pushed it in all the way. I just want to make sure that the bolt fits really tight. And as you start to get it where it's going to be more flush, you want to make sure you don't hammer it in all the way so you don't align it correctly and can't get the bolt through. Because the sleeve has to line up with the hole on the back side, and with you hammering it in crooked, your bolt's not going to line up, and I don't want to have to pull this back out and hammer it in again. That would be very difficult. So pay a lot of attention and hammer that, and then test fit as you're hammering it to make sure you can get your bolt through. And you may want to just look up there and eyeball it if you can get your head up here. Like I said, you don't want to hammer that in and have it misaligned, and then you can't get your bolt through. Don't get any metal in your eyes, because I need to be careful if you get any dirt or metal flakes in your eyes. I'm gonna go get some plastic little glasses to put on, because I do not want anything sliver of metal in my eye. That's nasty and horrible. All right, now we're set. See, my bolt is not going through. Every time I've tried to fit it in there, it's not coming out the back side. So I'm not pushed all the way in just yet. Alright, so you do have, once you get that sleeve in and you haven't pushed it all the way through, you do have a little bit of flexibility to push that in and make sure it comes out the back side. So now mine's going all the way through, but I've got to hammer it in flush. Hopefully my camera is focusing, because I don't know if this focuses is up close. I don't have it pushed all the way up flush to the subframe right here. So there may be a little extra distance that it needs to travel to hit this wall. But I'm gonna go ahead and mount the diff brace on there. Also too, I lubricated this sleeve pretty well, the end, before I tapped it in, and maybe that helped me to insert it. It's a tight fit, at least on my car. See, as you can see, it's going all the way through. But I'm going to put this on first, the top one, and I'm going to put the bolt on and tighten that down and get the sleeve to push all the way in, and it'll automatically align so that I know that's perfectly done. So I'm not going to put the bottom ones on, and I'm going to do the top one. It's pretty substantial, the bolt head. Hopefully you can see that. Until it bottoms out, you'll hear the noise of the hammer will make a little bit different sound. I'm going to put the washer, the lock washer, on the back side with the nut, Those two mount up like that. The lock washer always goes along with the nut, and that's what keeps the nut from spinning, not backing off. Okay, I see a potential problem. Problem at least maybe my car. Let me turn the camera and try to show you exactly what I think the problem is, and I'm going to have to tinker with and see if it can be manipulated and corrected. So I'm not going to put you through that through the video, but I'm going to show you what I'm looking at as the potential problem. Okay, as the brace is attached, I'm going to get my arms, not a lot of room under here. There is a gap between the metal brace and the diff housing, and I would say it's probably a good 4 millimeters. See that? Now I'm going to put the bolts in there and see if I can make that fit flush, but I don't think there's any way that I'm going to torque those down and not have this metal flush with the metal of the differential. Right now it looks like I cannot get those two to fit together. Let me go ahead and put these in here and see what this looks like. Okay, as I tighten the 3 diff bolts down, it kind of took up some of that space, that gap. It's not optimum, but as you tighten the bolts down, it either make the brace flex a little bit and hopefully line those back up. And obviously, as I tighten the top one, torque that down to 35 pounds, that may give me a little bit more pulling those pieces together. So yeah, just test fitting it on there and experimenting before anyone else gets it on there, and see how this works out. Alright, so as I did last time, I'm going to put some blue Loctite on the differential bolts. Go ahead and do that now. Complete that. Tighten those down. I put my torque wrench to 22 foot-pounds. A little more, I think specs were 20, but man, they certainly came off really, really easy. So I'm going to do 22. Alright, there's 22 on those. 30. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, the torque wrench is set to 35 foot-pounds. right, there's 35, maybe 36. All right, so it's all torqued in. Let me turn the camera around. All right, as you'll see, I got better light now. That when I tightened those up, it did pull the plate up against flush with the differential. It just seemed like there was pretty much a big gap right there. But tightening those down too much didn't require them being tightened too much down. Too much to get them to pull up against the differential. I just didn't want there to be a gap right there, and I didn't want to have to overstress that by tightening these down too much to make that fit. And then this, let me see, let me get my hands. So the 35 foot-pounds, here's my nut in the back with the lock washer. So this is all tightened up and Loctited. So everything looks good. If I wouldn't have cut my my bolt down or ground that down in the back, I probably would have liked to, because this is a little bit smaller hole than is in the brace. So I probably would have liked to have put that on, but since I ground my bolt down so that it didn't hit, I cut off about 4 millimeters. I can't really run this 1.5 millimeter washer on the front right there. So, but other than that, I'm just going to put my piece back right here. Put that back and put my little aluminum guard piece back right there, and then we'll be all solid and ready to go. All right, here's my little metal plate that's put back on, and here is this black piece with the bolt right there. All right, I just want to recap real quick before I end the video. I was a little worried when I saw the gap between the differential brace and the differential housing, but it can be tweaked, you know, right when you get all the bolts aligned and you start torquing them down, then it gets a little closer. And then the last little bit, you can torque the bolts down and it kind of bends into place. So I don't think that's as bad as what I thought it was. I was a little worried there. Other than that, I think everything went well. Let's see what else I thought. When I was torquing down the bolts, especially I think on the top one, because before when I was torquing that down, I noticed that there was more play when I was tightening, torquing the bolt down, that it took longer for me to, you know, hit the torque. And that was just, I think, from the wall, the subframe walls flexing in a little bit, kind of taking away some of that torque. So this time when I torqued down 35, you could tell that there wasn't a delay of hitting that 35 foot-pounds. So that sleeve is obviously doing a good job, and it's not allowing the inner walls, the outside and the inside wall of the subframe to push in, and so it torqued up better. And that's my opinion. That's my honest opinion. So I think that that's going to help, and a little bit tighter, you know, 35 foot-pounds, I think it's going to be better. So there you go. Use this for what it's worth. Bye-bye.